What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Force here with some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today's game is going to be between DieStar and sLivko. This is a Terran versus Zerg matchup. We are here on the map Daybreak, and as always, we're going to start off with some player information. Let's start down over here in the lower left-hand spawn position with our purple Terran player, DieStar. DieStar is a Terran player from Poland who's currently playing for Team Millennium. He took first place at the Games Credit Cup number 52. This was back on March 5th of this year, and then on May 12th took third place at the World Championship Series Poland Nationals. His opponent over here in the upper right hand spawn position is our teal Zerg player sLivko. sLivko is a Zerg player from Russia currently playing for Team Virtus Pro. He was a semi-finalist at the Storm number 1 Raid Call SC2 Cup, which was on September 29th of this year, and then a day later on September 30th took second place at the Go for SC2 number 232. And that is some player information to start off this game. Let's go ahead and hop right into things. sLivko moving out with his Overlord Scout, heading directly cross-positional. Expect him to chill that out somewhere right above this natural expansion here for his opponent DieStar. DieStar now actually holding back on formulating that frontal wall. He has placed down that first supply depot, but then after that went straight back to mining, as he is going to go command center first, is what I'm assuming here, since he has decided to hold back once again on building that barracks out front, pooling up those resources. Yeah, it looks like he's making his way up to those 400 minerals necessary to come out with that command center, so we'll be seeing a quick expansion here from DieStar. sLivko places down his hatchery. We'll be following that up, of course, with a spawning pool sometime momentarily. A little bit of pause action going on. That's why you see all that dialogue pop up instantaneously. Basically what happens if you pause the game and then you chat and then you resume the game, all this stuff just sort of appears. So there's the expansion here from DieStar, following that up here with his barracks as soon as he can, because he does need to get those Marines out to prevent any early Zerglings from doing what could be potentially a bit of damage. It's especially tough too when you're building this expansion out here as opposed to in your main. It becomes really tough to defend this, even just early on from drone harass, which we may be seeing from sLivko, although he hasn't moved out with any drone scout yet. Again, just with this Overlord Scout here, that's all we've seen from him so far, and really still no motion towards doing that. Here's your spawning pool, about 3/4 of the way finished. Also same thing with that extractor that is just about to pop. Again, that's saturated, allowing him to get that metabolic boost nice and early on here, take a bit of map control before we have the potential of DieStar getting some Hellions or anything like that. SCV Scout is now moving out here for DieStar. He has not done any scouting yet so far this game, so he'll be pushing out with this just to confirm. I mean, everything we're seeing over here is pretty standard so far from sLivko, but wants to move in, wants to check the number of gases, see if he's attempting to go for a quick third. Also wants to see if there's anything crazy going on, like an early Roach Warren or Baneling Nest. All this stuff is definitely important to look for. So we've got those first two queens coming out, no Zerglings in production, so he's holding back on that for now. Now just starting those two Zerglings. With that, we should see him grab a tower and even possibly move out to scout that natural expansion. Although he has seen it here, you can see he decided to park his Overlord right over here in a nice, safe, tucked away position. And there's that SCV Scout again moving in. He spotted the gas, spotted the pool, and gonna try to hide over here away from these Zerglings. Unfortunately, will be spotted. And as a result, say goodbye to that SCV. We've got two queens moving down, so there's really no escape there for that SCV. Even if he tried to finagle his way down here, those two queens would get the killing blow, but never mind. Killing blow goes to that Mr. Zergling right there. Congratulations, Zergling, you are a winner. Two more queens coming out. Wow, very, very queen heavy early on, which will help him, of course, in defense against, again, potentially Hellions. And even if we saw some Banshees, but that is way down the road right now, as you can see, actually coming out with a third command center here. DieStar, very, very early third command center, which will be turned into an orbital command. And with all of that, we'll be seeing some nice heavy saturation of that main and the natural. Lots of mule action going on with that as well. Couple of Marines grabbing the Xel'Naga tower, and then one of them peeling back over here. He's going to actually push his way back to that one, I believe. Was he rallied up there? I thought he was. Maybe just put on attack command over to that position. We've got those two Zerglings at the tower now, and they're just about finished with their speed upgrade here, so we'll be seeing that metabolic boost in just one moment there for those Zerglings. And this Marine's in a bit of trouble as the Lings decide to push forward and engage. Do we have any reinforcement Marines to assist? No assist is taking place, and another kill there early on. First sLivko getting a little bit of an advantage, slight as it may be. Every advantage counts, you know, in the early game. Do what you can, take what you can, why not? We've got another expansion now here for sLivko as he decides to move quickly into a third. Also now coming out with his Roach Warren, now coming out just with a second, third, and fourth gas. Was just running off that one this whole time, and he does have those 4 queens. A third will be moved down to here, and then just one of them will be used solely for spreading creep. And yeah, just a bunch of macro going on right now for both players. We are seeing the double Hellions come out of that reactor factory right now, so this is going to give map control to sLivko. I'm sorry, to DieStar. What am I saying? DieStar now moving out with these Hellions will be gaining map control. And might even be trying to do a little bit of harass. He could be scouting out right now. Yeah, it looks like he is, in fact, going to be scouting out that third. You can see pushing right into that position. Spots it just as it finishes. And might try to get a couple of drone kills here if he tries to circumvent that queen. Yeah, he might get that one. Couple Zerglings moving down. Needs to be careful, though. Taking a bit of damage. Manages to get away. Also joined by 2 more Hellions. Creep spread doing pretty good here for sLivko as he continues to push forward with that creep. He's got a few roaches now coming through. His Roach Warren has finished. Also, that layer just about done. 4 roaches in production, 1/1 upgrades coming out. That is the 1 melee attack as well as the Carpus attack. And there is the third for DieStar. DieStar actually, very interestingly enough, decided to just lift that off and go straight for the third. A lot of times you'll see that sit in the main a little bit longer until we've got that natural fully saturated, even oversaturated. I mean, this is decent saturation, especially with those mules, but I usually see what's pretty much considered oversaturation at the natural before you see anyone move into a third. But DieStar taking it pretty early. Looking to saturate that as quick as possible, obviously, and get that economy up and running. Hellions now moving here. Met by some roaches, a queen, and a few Zergling. Those roaches threatening enough to force those Hellions back, especially with this creep here, increasing their speed, making them a little bit more dangerous for him. Get some Spore Crawler defense taking place in the main. Anything in the natural? No. We do have also that Infestation Pit coming out with those Pathogen Gland research. That's that extra energy for those infestors so that once they pop, they can fungal growth immediately. Also just about done his 1 melee upgrade, and the Carpus following shortly thereafter. We've got 1/1 upgrades coming out here for DieStar's Bio, Stim Pack research, and then Siege Tanks and some Medivacs. So following up those Hellions there with some Marine Tank Medivac action. Moves forward, gets vision to the high ground with the Medivacs, takes out the Overlord. And these are the kind of things I commentate on when there's nothing else going on in the game. Pretty passive so far, but it is a nice and interesting macro game, and action should be kicking in shortly. Here comes a macro hatch for sLivko, using this hatchery just for the extra larva before he decides to move out to a 4th. And we've got a push coming here for DieStar. Again, Hellions, Marines, Siege Tanks. That's Siege Tech research now just starting. Stim Pack just about finished with those 1/1s. He could potentially just push out with that, though, even without Siege Tech. Zerglings will be moving to the tower. Wants to see what's going on. Gets the Zergling. He sees it all right. So takes a bit of damage as a result. Lost a few Zerglings there, I would say. Putting him slightly behind right now in terms of those resources lost. DieStar actually starting to formulate a wall up over here. Just wants to deal with the potential threat of Zergling run-bys. This is not so much for an immediate threat, but later on in the game when you see Zergling pushes towards your sort of further reaching expansions, further away from your main production facilities is what you'll see. I think it's especially vulnerable, of course, because it is an orbital command. If you had a planetary, it would be a little bit more capable of defending against that sort of thing. Look at this, creeping now all the way over here, getting up into the high ground, also pushing a little bit over in this direction. He's got these infestors sort of just chilling out right now. Little forward Zergling to see what's going on. Scouting Marine pushes up, gets surrounded by the Lings. And I do wonder, okay, DieStar's going to just set up his Siege Tanks here. He's got more Siege Tanks in production, sitting with 3 right now, and now he's going to be finally moving out with some Harass. So here we go, first Harass of the game, a drop moving forward from DieStar into sLivko's main. Unfortunately, that's going to get scouted. There's the creep tumor. Should have seen that medevac. So long as sLivko was paying attention to the minimap, which it appears he was, as he does have some Zerglings now rallied to the main. So he's all set. 4th, completely missed the construction of this, but we've got a 4th up and running now for sLivko. And here comes the drop, met by the Zerglings plus the Queen. Not going to do anything here. Also takes a hit from that Spore Crawler. Oh, how awful. Oh, fungal growth goes down, but as a result, lost the Infestor. A second fungal growth takes out that batch of Marines. Very nice there. It could have been much, much worse for sLivko had he just lost that Infestor, but able to get that second fungal growth off, take out those Marines, even things up a little bit more. In fact, put DieStar a little bit behind right now. Here we go, though. Batch of Marines moving forward with the scan. denying all that work to spread that creep. Roach scout moving forward, spots the tanks unsieged. Is he going to push for it right now? And decides not to. Not quite yet, not quite yet. Now, where did that medevac go? Did that rejoin the forces? I do believe it must have, because no more drop action is taking place. Teching up right now into a greater spire, also with some corruptors coming out. Of course, with this, we can assume, in fact, we can pretty much guarantee that sLivko will be coming out with some Broodlords. So we'll be seeing some Broodlords, also moving into some Banelings here. And Carpus level 2, just about finished. Another hatchery coming forward, potentially his 5th base. Some infested Terrans at the siege line, forcing some splash damage against the tanks. Marines move forward to try to help with that. There's a forward scan, and here comes the push. Very aggressive stance here from DieStar. How will sLivko deal with it? I believe he is just going to cancel this. Really not a chance of saving that. Really not a chance in hell. Zerglings engage with some Marines to do a little bit of damage, although they end up losing that battle. So we've got a little bit of a spread here. Uh-oh, these guys are spotted, though. That's very dangerous. They're in a lot of trouble. They are in a lot of trouble. Moving forward here, trying to converge on the tanks. Those infestors just got roasted. There's some fungal growth coming from up high. Zerglings pushing forward. There are way too many Marines, though, for them to be that effective. Banelings also doing some damage, but not enough. DieStar still stands. He's continuing his push, but dun-dun-dun-dun, here come the Broodlords. And without any Vikings, this is a bit problematic right now for DieStar. He's going to try to move in and do as much damage as he can before he loses his forces. Again, no Vikings. He does have 2 in production. Doesn't have enough Marines to deal with these either. So this is a goner. At the same time, we've got a push coming on over here. We're killing off quite a few workers as well. So far, killing off 19, 23 workers. That number's going to keep climbing. Now again, these Broodlords will handle this. Zerglings mopping up these Marines over here, but man, the damage was done. Now you take a look at the resources lost, like, okay, sure, they're about even, but look at this, 30 worker kills for DieStar. DieStar also, of course, forced the cancel of this base here in the center, which sets sLivko back a little bit. So overall, I'd say DieStar came out on top of that engagement, undoubtedly. Again, with the addition of the worker kills, plus forcing the cancel of that base right there, giving him a bit of an advantage. Here we go, Queens and some fungal growth, allowing him to take out a few of those medevacs. And actually now putting DieStar slightly behind with those resources lost. Another patrol group of Marines moving forward. Might be seeing this for scan. Creep tumor destruction, there it is. There's the scan, and goodbye tumors. You know, in every other situation, that'd be a good thing. I don't even know why I had to go there. All right, hatchery being rebuilt here by sLivko in the center of the map. Also work to resaturate this base and this base as well. We've got 3/3 upgrades now coming through here for DieStar. Also coming out with some Thors to deal with the potentially clumped up Broodlords. Again, Thor is really good with that splash damage, so you need those Broodlords to be clumped up for them to be that effective, and also a few Vikings, as we can see. 2 more starports coming out. He is getting ready for mass Viking production if need be. I wonder if we're going to see that switch there. You know, sometimes you'll see this Broodlords, and then you go switch into Ultras. And that is potential, although I don't know that he has that in the works right now. I don't think he's got an Ultra Den. So would it be nice to see, you know, open up that avenue just in case there. I love that defense over there. A couple of Sunkens. You know, it seems like so minimal and so obvious, but you'll see a lot of players not do this and then just have their expansions get destroyed by small groups of Marines, potential drops. DieStar moving up into this expansion position with a planetary fortress. That is nice and saturated already. Planetary also over here, nice and saturated. I wonder how their incomes are looking. They're going to be about even right now. Yeah, they're sitting relatively even. sLivko has a little bit of a gas advantage. He also just needs more gas with what he's doing. Although I guess we're seeing a pretty heavy gas transition here for DieStar with all these Vikings and Thors. Also Seeker missile and Corvid reactor. We're going to be seeing some Raven play from DieStar. That's actually really exciting for me. Don't see enough Raven play. I love those high-tech units. And yeah, I just want to see some Seeker missiles destroy some things. Not because I hate the Zerg player, no. Just because it is glorious to watch. Just like it's glorious to watch Banelings blow up in Marines' faces. Again, lots and lots of macro. That's really been the core of this game. You can see those upgrades there in the upper left. Everything in production. And no harass as of this moment, at least. I don't believe we've seen much follow-up drop harass at all either from DieStar. At least I haven't noticed anything. There's a potential that I may have missed something, but I don't believe so. We're going to be fanning out with some Overlords here. I wonder if he's just doing this for scouting or if he's going to spread some creep over in this position. Is that his game plan here? What do we got going on, buddy? All right, let's take a look at unit composition. Again, we've got all of those Broodlords. I've got Banelings coming through, a small batch of Speedlings and those Infestors, plus a few Corruptors to deal with the Vikings. Ooh, sensor tower placement, gotta love that. And lots of missile turrets. Nice defensive measure here. This is really gonna make it or at least harder for a push from sLivko. Of course, he outranges those missile turrets, but it's those missile turrets just as that extra deterrent to stop him from pushing that much closer with the Vikings in front of them, plus those Ultras. Who knows, though? We're about to see a push. We'll see how this ends up panning out. Big engagement coming, guys. Here we go. Broodlords go to the front line. Infested Terran's getting placed down by those Infestors, allowing him to soak up some of that splash from those tanks and then push in with the rest of his army. And here come the Speedlings and Banelings now. Broodlord number still looking pretty decent. And those Infested Terrans helping a bit. We're going to need some Fungal Growth over here, though. There's a lot of Marines. Look at so many Infested Terrans, providing a bit of a buffer. Raven moves forward. Is able to get 1 point defense drone down. We didn't see a Seeker missile, though. Potential, he didn't have enough energy. Not sure exactly why, but this push is going pretty well. For sLivko, we're going to see some reinforcements. We do have that tank line also back there. There's still a bit of Infestors with a few energy, and those Broodlords are still alive and kicking. Base is gone. DieStar can't defend his center base from that very strong push from sLivko. Really liked what we saw there. We saw those Infested Terrans as a buffer. Of course, they do damage as well, significant amounts of damage, although they are quite slow. But we saw that buffer and the absorbing of some of that tank splash damage and just general fire. There's a big Fungal Growth. Gonna need another one, though. Oh, never mind. I guess those Broodlings will take care of the rest of that. And there isn't quite enough anti-air to deal with these Vikings. He's got a few Corruptors. I wonder if we're seeing any more in production. No, not at the moment. Those Infested Terrans push forward. That was a very strong push from sLivko, though. He was able to do quite a bit of damage, and I want to take a quick look at the resources lost. You can see how far behind DieStar is right now. Hasn't gotten many worker kills this game, only 7. But that was a significant push, a very, very significant push. He has retaken the center base as well. And we've got that nice saturation over there, and without any counter harass going on right now. A little bit worried for DieStar. Now he's continuing to come out with some Marines, Vikings, and Thors. We're not seeing anything else in production for sLivko. I apologize. That is because he is capped. That is why I was like, why aren't we seeing any Corruptors in production? Oh, because he's capped. All right, so going to move forward again. Here we go with the Infestors laying down this Fungal Growth. There are so many Vikings. Holy heck, 19 Vikings in play. I think this is going to be the demise now of these Broodlords. I just don't think he can deal with those numbers. Not a lot of energy left on those Infestors. In fact, he should just be retreating with those right now. Try to save them for another day because these guys are done. But oh my lord, the Infested Terrans do so much damage. They just do. They're so effective. They're so effective now. He's going to pull back and retreat with those Infestors, as he very well should. But he was still, he did more damage than I thought he was going to. I thought sLivko was going to get a little more mopped up, but he was fairly effective with that. Let's take another look at the resources lost. Overall, though, that allowed DieStar to catch up a bit. You can see sLivko a little bit closer now in terms of his resources lost. We're also going to see, what is it, the liftoff and the placement? Yeah, we're going to see the liftoff of this orbital command being placed in the center. Obviously, you would prefer that to be a planetary, but you get this late in the game, resources starting to become scarce, and you need to spend everything you can on producing more units, getting upgrades, and stuff like that. DieStar really doesn't want to build another command center right now as a result of, well, everything I just said. Now we get Speedlings moving up in this direction. This is going to be for a counterattack up here. This could potentially be effective. I mean, he is 3-3. Got to keep that in mind. He does not have the adrenal glands, unfortunately, which help him a bit with a 20% more attack speed, but nevertheless, he's got a lot of Zerglings. He could really just overwhelm that, in my honest opinion. We'll see if he decides to do that. A few Banelings first. And here we go. Zergling push, and now moving towards a planetary. He's going to try to just get a full surround and pop it. We got the Banelings moving in as well. He's going to go for those SCVs. There's the popping of the Banelings. Oh, the mass repair buying so much time. More Baneling damage. Going to be very, very close. Banelings get it. They get it. They get it. Just barely. You can see he has just run out of all the units that he pushed with, but was able to just barely get that planetary fortress before those reinforcements arrived. Really nice there for sLivko. That's going to help him a lot. This is going to cut back the mining of DieStar quite a bit. Let's take a look at this resource gathering tab here. sLivko at a pretty significant advantage. So he's continuing to work to repopulate there, get himself back up to 200 supply, pretty much sticking with the same composition, Infestor and a Broodlord heavy. What else is he mixing in there? He's got a few Zerglings and coming out with a few Banelings as well. But again, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much his composition of choice, and you know, we saw from that last engagement particularly, that last large engagement that we saw here in the center of the map, and even this one as well, a lot more effective than I expected him to be. I really thought he was, just because of how many Vikings there were, I thought he was going to get mopped up, but with a clever use of the fungal growth and infested terrain with the mass infestors that he has, was able to do very, very well. So I obviously don't blame him for sticking with his composition. I mean, hell, it's worked so far. Why not keep with it? We saw a scan there from DieStar spotting the unit composition and army placement of sLivko. In fact, you pretty much expect players to be defending this center expansion at this point in the game. You can see both players with the bulk of their army just sitting in the center base. Especially once these rocks here in the center of the map are destroyed, it's so easy for them to just march straight towards that and take it out. And also at this point, this is one of the only fully available bases, with the exception of this far-reaching one, which we're actually seeing sLivko move into now. Still have yet to see DieStar move to this position. I think once he's completely mined out of here, he might just lift off this orbital and move there with that. Scanning, spots this expansion, although again, really not sure. Is he gonna try to make a push for it? And sieging his tanks. At the same time, here we go, another engagement moving forward. Again, with the infested terrains, as some distracting fire, absorb some of that tank damage, allow the rest of his army to move in. And once again, we're gonna see this big engagement here. Moving to the center of the map, Broodlords, Corruptors back here to defend a little bit. Just picking off with those Broodlords now. It's those infestors that he's really going to protect and make sure he utilizes that energy properly. Big fungal growth. That is a large group of Vikings that all just got fungal together. And if he keeps that fungal up, all those Vikings are gone. Oh, that is dangerous. There's still a few more Broodlords, and oh, that was beautiful play by sLivko. Unfortunately for DieStar, keeping his Vikings clumped up like that was his demise in this engagement. sLivko will be able to continue to push, takes this out, will be mopping up the rest of these tanks as well as that Thor. Excellent play there by sLivko, and again, it's very unfortunate there for DieStar. Keeping those Vikings clumped up allowed sLivko to quite easily chain fungal them, plus that damage from the Corruptors taking them out. That is the game. Thank you so much for watching. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here in this game between sLivko and DieStar. Thank you so much for watching. Very entertaining, macro-focused game with lots of large battles. Man, oh man, this was a lot of fun to commentate. Hopefully, it was equally as fun to watch. Thanks again, guys. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. More StarCraft 2 and general gaming coverage coming, of course, as always. Thanks again, guys. Keep watching and keep owning. This was beautiful.